neighbors in my apartment. What is up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome back to another fantastic live episode of the What the Fanboy podcast. Tyler.
I am Tyler. This is Luke.
I'm Luke.
We are doing this without Brett.
This is either going to be the greatest dumps. Are we?
Yeah, we're good.
Everything's not
rolling.
muted.
Everything's going well, it seems.
It's either going to be the biggest dumpster fire or the greatest
Booyah,
live stream on Twitch in history.
Those are high stakes. I definitely think we err more towards dumpster fire than the greatest live stream on Twitch, but we will certainly give it the old college try.
Yeah, the odds are not in best ever's favor.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But yeah, we're doing this without Brett, at least for a little while. There's a chance Brett jumps in mid-show. There's a chance that he doesn't. So if he doesn't, then Luke and I have successfully done this show in probably less than an hour, which will definitely not happen.
Doesn't his meeting end at 8?
I don't know. I think that's what he said. We could try to get this done in 15 minutes. He walks in and we're just kind of hanging out.
Dude, that'd be the best.
That'd be so funny.
He'd be so mad because we always keep him so late. And me and Brett do this to you too. I don't care. I want to go for 4 hours daily.
Yeah. And then I'm just trying to get to sleep. But yep, nope, we're here. We're gonna go through kind of the same show strategy we always do. Starting with trailers. I think we only had the 1 or 2 trailers this week.
We didn't really have any, in my opinion, but we're gonna talk about 2. The first one came out, I don't know, 2 months ago.
Somewhere, maybe not that long ago. Close.
We never talked about it.
Yeah.
We might have mentioned it, but is played before Napoleon, and that's The Boy and the Heron. So we're just going to talk about it now, and It looks awesome.
Yeah, I think this movie looks great, and it has an insane cast. It's super impressive. The Studio Ghibli movies always get great casts for their English dubs, so this one's no different. It's a thumbs up for me. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, and it looked beautiful in the IMAX. I actually hadn't even watched any of the trailers until I watched it in the theater, and that was the Japanese version. I thought it looked really good. And then you just played the English one for me, yeah. And it was a different trailer altogether, too. And
still looks good, right?
No, it ruined it. It looks horrible now.
Yeah, no, I think it looks awesome. I don't know if it'll be the first Studio Ghibli movie I watch, but it's definitely one I need to get to. I know friend of the show, Easton, has recommended a few of them to me and kind of gave me his rankings or whatever because he loves them and speaks very highly of them. So they're definitely movies I plan to get to at some point.
Yeah, they've been in my HBO Max list for years before Max was HBO Max. Before HBO Max was HBO. Did I say that right? For a long time. When it was just HBO. That's how long it's been.
What about before it was HBO Go?
I didn't have it yet.
Okay. Yeah, because there was HBO Go, there was HBO Now.
Which are separate things.
Yep. And then they had regular HBO, then HBO Max, and now Max.
Yeah.
Man, they are just on a naming convention. They're just going to try them all. When are we getting HBO Plus?
Or it'd be Max Plus.
Max Plus. This is a mess. Yeah, it's just what's the next trailer?
This isn't even a trailer. It's a little featurette for Disney Plus's or Marvel's Agatha Darkhold Diaries.
Okay.
I gotta be honest, I don't know anybody that's really excited for this.
Yeah, I'm kind of I don't know anybody who was asking for this, and I don't know anybody who has seen this and said, "Oh, I can't wait."
Yeah, at least as far as viewers go. I mean, you watch the behind the scenes, and they seem super excited. The creators and the producers, they're like, "Yeah, we really wanted to do stuff with something with Agatha," and okay,
yeah, it's an interesting. What I will say from it kind of leans to that too. Is it's interesting that they were so caught up on this character because it sounded like the lead writer on this project, was talking to Marvel about several other things.
And they just all involved Agatha.
Yeah, and they just kept trying to involve this character. So it's I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a good sign, right? Like if the writer cares about the character, that's a good sign. But this little featurette doesn't do anything, doesn't move the needle for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't, I'm still not excited for it. But
And
if it comes out to glowing reviews, maybe I'll give it a shot.
I don't even know about that.
That's true. Yeah, I guess you can't really trust that anymore.
Yeah, I don't. I'm curious to see too, just what viewership will be.
Yeah.
If they're allowed.
They don't never.
Do they have to release that now? Was that part of the strike?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Already forgot everything they fought for.
Maybe we'll have to read it again at some point.
Yeah.
Or have Brett summarize it for us.
That sounds like the best.
That's probably the closer option to what we will do.
But yeah, because I mean, I feel like most of the Marvel Disney Plus stuff, everybody's just kind of like, okay, yeah,
it's fine.
Sounds interesting. Like everything's gone down. I don't know Loki reception.
Well, even Loki season 2's like early reception wasn't great.
Yeah, people were like, this is fine, and then the finale was great.
Yeah, which is pretty standard.
Like even Brett was a big fan of the finale.
Yeah,
and Brett hates everything.
Yeah, he was
fun. No.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, Brett's gone. We could just
resident old guy
roast all of his
things.
All of his takes.
We can talk about how Ready Player One is a really fun movie.
We can talk about how Ready Player One is better than The Last Jedi.
We could.
I think, or how the Fast and Furious
franchise
is better than The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I think it would break him.
We could talk
mentally,
about Space Jam 2.
Oh, great
and
film.
how like their use of IP was really well done. Brett would love that. That honestly, we're kind of speaking for him.
Is that going to be removed from HBO Max too?
Probably.
There's Looney Tunes characters in it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, it probably will. But yeah, no, we can jump over into, I guess, the main subject of the show. We all went out and saw Napoleon. That includes Brett. I will be appropriate. I'll be reading Brett's review, and we'll just kind of go through as normal. I'll kick it off though with Brett's review, just so it's out of the way. And then if he shows up mid-review, we'll just let him kind of
reread it exactly.
Yeah, he can either reread it or elaborate. This is a little long, so bear with me. Napoleon is a beautiful mess. Like nearly all of Scott's films, every frame of Napoleon is a visual treat. Scott and cinematographer Dariusz Wolski thrust us into the late 1700s Europe in a way that feels more real than 90% of any other film in the past decade. Everything from sets and costumes to the battlefields and visual effects wonderfully enhances the film. Casting in this is also excellent. Phoenix and Kirby are high-caliber talent that individually shine in many scenes. However, this is where the problems begin. The chemistry between Phoenix and Kirby, whether it starts in the script or in performance, lacks consistency or believability. What should be a strong motivational thread through the film is left wanting due to Scott's refusal to take the time needed to anchor it. This lack of connective tissue leaves the film feeling more like a series of vignettes Napoleon happens to be a part of, rather than the driving force behind who the man is and why he does the things he does. If you're a fan of historical biography films, don't sleep on it, but it's definitely not Scott's strongest work. He gave it 3.5 stars. The thing I want to kind of agree with is the vignettes line. Early on in this, I was like, man, this feels more like a series of shorts than it does feel a connected film. Mm-hmm. And kind of, I would say probably after the first hour and a half, it kind of settles into being a little more narratively driven, which I thought was a weird choice. You and I have kind of talked about this a little bit. It just, the pacing is kind of a crapshoot.
I think the pacing leads into every problem I have with the movie.
Yeah.
Like, why did I not like this? It's a result of the pacing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we're all kind of on the same page with this movie where it's good. But, like, in my Letterboxd review, I said, this is weird. I wrote, it's pretty good, but it's weird. The movie either needs more or less. And I wrote a whole bunch of other stuff, but it really comes down to this movie is either has too much in it and stuff needed to be taken out more because it's just information overload, or stuff needs to be added, like just little things to let those moments breathe and let you understand what's going on. Because it moves so quick in between these seemingly important bits of detail, and you're not given any time to think on it or react to any of it. and like there's a major moment probably halfway, 2/3 through the movie, and you're just like, because it's just a sound off screen, and I won't say it because, I mean, kind of a spoiler.
I guess it's a spoiler for the movie, but not for real life.
Yeah, it's and you're just like, wait, what was that? What was that?
Yeah.
And you're like I don't know jack diddly squat about Napoleon. All my knowledge on Napoleon is based on like the Muppets and what's the museum, Night at the Museum, wasn't he in those?
I think so.
Like, or and then Bill and Ted too. Like, or also, like, they're all like the joke versions of Napoleon. But yeah, you're just, stuff happens and you're like, wait, what was that? Oh, we're in the middle of a battle now.
Yeah, it's I kind of talked about that in my review too, and I'll pull it up just so I can kind of refer back to it. But like, it's so bizarre. Wait, hold on, trying to find it.
I feel like it should also be said it's not unheard of. It's Ridley Scott, who is pretty known for his director's cuts.
That's true, yeah. And mine, I kind of talking about what you're talking about. I wrote, we go from battles to dinner parties to coronations to battle, all in 20-minute stretches, and it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This movie just jumps around all the time, and by the time you kind of settle in and realize what's happening, you're an hour into this thing, and you're kind of just like, what?
Who's that?
Yeah. Yeah, like
What are they doing?
the names pop up on the bottom. They rarely refer to each other by name other than Napoleon. Baroque in the chat saying, like, fortunately, almost nothing about this film is based in reality, which I've seen that as a lot of critique.
Yeah, like, and I feel like even people were kind of agreeing with Ridley Scott. They're like, yeah, who cares? Just make a good movie. And
The problem is,
I feel like now people are like, oh, maybe you should have, like, paid attention a little bit to history.
yeah, like, I think, if you make an entertaining, that's not the right way to put that, but if you make an entertaining movie, a lot of times that kind of thing will be forgiven.
Yeah.
But I don't think
Braveheart.
I don't think this movie's entertaining enough to kind of rub dirt on that. It's just kind of a movie. Like, I think I led my review with, it's fine, it's all right.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a very middling film. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. I think it's just kind of there. It's not one that I'll rush out to see again. I would be interested in a director's cut, I'd say, just to see kind of what we lost on the cutting room floor. Maybe the movie flows a little bit better and makes it a little bit more enjoyable. Kind of hard to say. But I guess going into some pros and cons, right? Like, I don't want to just dump on this movie from talking about it. But pros and cons, I think the cast is good.
Yep.
I always appreciate, I shouldn't say always, but I do appreciate that if you got a cast that can't do French accents, don't try to force it. Because I was like, this is kind of weird. Nobody in the movie uses a French accent. But you kind of
Joaquin's just using his American accent.
Yeah, he's just talking.
Everybody's just using their natural accent.
Yep.
It's kind of like a spaghetti Western style. It's like, just talk how you would.
Just do it.
They didn't go full on, just speak in your own language and we'll ADR it.
Yeah, they're like, just do it. And I thought that would bother me more than it did. So that was kind of nice. But yeah, I think Joaquin was good. I think Vanessa Kirby was good. I think the supporting cast just around, I don't think there's any one actor who stood out as really bad. I think everybody was serviceable, did a good job. The other pro, though, and I think this is probably one of my favorites, is the costuming.
Yeah.
I thought costuming for this movie was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every character looks awesome.
I mean, Brett said it in his review. Like, every frame is beautiful.
Yeah.
And that comes down to the costumes, the production design, and the special effects.
Yeah.
Like, all of it meshing together it really is a pretty movie.
No, it is. And it like, Ridley Scott's style fits this kind of film really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of talked to Brett afterwards. I love that Ridley Scott's not afraid to take chances and do different kinds of things. But anytime he comes back to this, like, historical films, like, generally speaking, you can kind of count on him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I wouldn't say that this one is one you can count on, but when you come back to it, there's some good in there. And the best of it all, though, in my opinion, is the scale of the battles. I think the battles are, like, awesome in this movie.
Yeah.
They're so well done. They're so much fun to watch. I I always think about when I watch movies set in this time period. It's like, man, whoever created the grenade was just cleaning up, and like he made that and was like, yep, I'm gonna win all these battles. But yeah, like the lines for fighting, the cavalry, like all that stuff's just so well done, and it's so cool to watch.
Just to see how battles are actually fought back then.
Yeah,
because like what do we have in film libraries to depict
like that time
colonial
period.
fighting? I don't even know what to call it.
Revolutionary Wars,
Musket fighting, I guess.
the Patriot.
Yeah, the Patriot and Glory. Like,
yeah, there's really not a ton, not on this scale.
but like,
We have
a
a
lot.
lot
The
of
Patriot is about a guy doing
guy.
guerrilla warfare.
Yeah. We have like a lot of Pacific theater. We have a lot of like modern war.
Yeah, but like, I felt like I was actually watching, knowing really nothing about how it's actually done.
Yeah,
Like when they're fighting the British and they like set up a formation. It's like, oh, that's what they would have done.
yeah,
Like I thought it was really well done, and
yeah. It's choreographed in a way that's fun to watch, and yeah, the cavalry charges were noticeably good, like line infantry tactics. Yeah, I agree with that. Like it's super fun to watch. It's super different from anything we're getting currently, and I think that kind of deserves its own appreciation. Even if like the rest of this movie is just fine, that stuff's great, and should be
it's honestly worth seeing just for the battle
it
sequences.
is. Those things should be noted. Just how good they are. And again, we talked about it a little bit, but the scale of them feels massive.
Yeah.
And like there's a graphic at the end where it talks about how many soldiers were lost, and I think like when you're watching it, I think you feel those losses. Like you can tell like, oh man, he's not winning this one, or oh, this one's going favorably well. Like he's killing these dudes. And I also just love kind of the idea that Napoleon is this great tactician, and you're kind of learning about that. Like, I think that's just interesting. I think it could have been leaned into more, but I would have preferred this movie stayed with battles more.
In the Josephine relationship.
Yeah. That ultimately goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of just whatever. But also, if you're a young kid watching this show, plug your ears for 5 seconds. The sex scenes in this movie are hilarious.
Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah, the nom nom nom, and then like the jackhammering that Joaquin Phoenix is doing, just like the fastest paced sex scenes ever. And then it's like, we're done, we're moving on.
Surprisingly, no nudity though.
No nudity, yeah.
Which, you know what? That's a positive in my opinion. 'Cause a lot of times they just throw it in there because they can.
Yeah, in a movie where there's a ton of sex in it, there's no nudity, which I think is well done.
Rare.
Yeah, kudos to them for doing that.
But dude, yeah, it was really funny, and I kind of knew that going into that there was gonna be some weird stuff because I saw somebody post on Twitter there, and it was like it had 2 movies, and one of them is Napoleon, but the title of the list was sex scenes that just made me laugh.
There's plenty of those in this. Like, I think he even has a line like, let that stew and make a baby or something. It's like, whoa, this is a lot.
Calm down, Napoleon.
There are some moments that are pretty funny. Baroque in the chat says, I don't think things that prop Napoleon up because this movie was an English hit piece. Yeah, I've seen that, like, as a review a lot. Like, people are like, yeah, this is definitely... Sorry, stroke. This is definitely not a movie that's going to make you think Napoleon was as great a leader as I think history would tell you he is. But I think if you know just the basic level of history, you'll know that he was a pretty impressive leader. Going into cons, though, we've kind of hit on them. Oh, what is that? We've kind of hit on them a little bit. Pacing, obviously, the biggest one, I think, for you and I. I think the pacing is just an absolute disaster. Especially early on. I do think it settles in the back half of the film, but man, the pacing early, it just feels very disjointed. It's hard to follow.
The movie takes place over like 30 years.
Yeah, I think in your review you said it best, is this movie just needed some room to breathe.
Yeah, it needs more or it needs less.
Yeah, I mean it's 2.5 hours, 2 hours 40 minutes almost, and it feels long and short. Like at a certain point, I looked at my watch and I was like, "Holy cow, we have an hour and a half left in this."
And then it was over.
And then the next thing I knew it was over. And I think that's why I have it in my mind where like at that moment, it kind of fixed itself a little bit in the pacing department. Because it does a lot to try to get you to a certain point. But one of my other cons, and I didn't write this one down, but I definitely wanted to talk about it, is Napoleon in his life was exiled twice, I guess. And we spent like no time with the exile stuff.
I didn't even know he was exiled on one of them.
Because it just moves so quick. It just happens.
It's like 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to exile you. Okay, it's been 300 days. I'm coming back. And you're like, what? I would have loved more kind of story about what he was doing while exiled.
You know what I think would be a really interesting movie? His second exile, and that only. Like,
his life?
How does he deal with that? Like,
how does he deal with life after? Yeah.
The front of the French army, this leader. How is he dealing with being secluded on an island with the kids?
Yeah. Some kids.
Were they his? I have no idea.
No idea. No idea.
Were they Josephine's from before? Like, they don't
well,
tell you all
Josephine
this
couldn't
stuff.
have kids, so I don't know.
No, she had kids with her first husband.
Oh. Yeah, see, I missed that.
Remember the kid comes and asks for the sword?
That was her
son!
That's
like,
right.
Like, dude, there's like just so... There's
so much stuff.
Much information in this movie.
Yeah, it's... And half of it's fictional. Probably more than that.
And if they bring it up and then they just leave it, and it's just like... I feel like that's important stuff for this character.
Yep.
Like, all of his children. Or all of the children in the movie. But, like... It's just like, I want to go back to a movie we reviewed. You haven't seen it yet, but we reviewed Killers of the Flower Moon a couple weeks ago. The movie's 3 hours long. It was my favorite movie of the year, and I think that movie and this movie do just polar opposites of pacing. And I think Scorsese in that movie just nailed it. It's like, we're gonna take some time with these characters. These are gonna be some long scenes. They're important. You need to pay attention. And in Napoleon, it's just like, here's information overload. Some of it's important, maybe. Some of it might not. I'm not really gonna tell you which is which, and we're just gonna go to the next scene.
Yeah. I honestly feel like if you're going to this movie just to see battles, you'll probably get more out of it.
Treat it like a like a action adventure
like,
movie.
It's such a weird thing. Like, if you go to Killers of the Flower Moon because you want to learn about the history, well, you're probably going to learn about the history, obviously, from a specific point of view.
Yep.
But like with this, if you're going to this and you're like, oh man, we're going to talk about Napoleon, one of the greatest world leaders in history, and then like by the end of it, you're like, this guy's kind of an oaf. He's kind of dumb. Like, he's a smart war guy, but he's kind of dumb when it comes to like politics and everything else in life. Like he's kind of just tone deaf.
Hey, I think you should be king, man. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah, you should. Okay.
Yeah, he's like,
hey, I'm king now. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's just, there's just so many moments where you're like, man, this guy is kind of just failing into success all the time.
Emperor, I guess.
Yeah, and it's just weird. Like, it's an all right movie. Like, if somebody asked me the other day, they're like, oh, you saw, how was it? And I was like, it's all right. I don't really, like, there's some good things, there's some bad things, but overall, I think it's just fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to buy it and put it on my shelf.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's got some great things about it. It's got some awful things about it, and that's just kind of what it is. It's a whole lot of all right, or fine, or good. Whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, and I think, like, people see it and they're just like, oh, okay, well, we'll see how this goes when the director's cut comes out.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, I left the theater and I didn't think about it. Like, oh, yep, I watched it.
Literally my first thought.
You're just like, I'm done. Oh, the director's cut thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, all right, well.
And be like, okay, well, there's definitely going to be a 3.5 hour cut of this movie.
Probably.
And I don't understand why. It's an Apple movie. It's made for a streamer. Just let them make the movie.
Yeah.
And then it's not going to have the same theatrical run as all the other movies. It's not intended to do gangbusters at the box office.
Right.
Pretty good, though. And
did it?
I think it made more than maybe they were expecting. It was second at the box office. But, like, just make the whole movie. Like, the same problem I have with Zack Snyder. Like, just give me the movie you want to make.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's
for
Scott,
Zack Snyder,
or
that's
if
like
that's
a 12-hour
Apple,
movie.
or what's going on. But the other big pro for me that I do want to talk about is music.
Yes.
I was vibing during this. You might be like, vibing? What? Are they using hip hop? No, it's all classical.
Yeah, it's kind of
like, what's this era of music?
Victorian?
Era of music.
You look that up. I'm gonna try to remember my Twitch password.
85. Carasposa? Oh, that's a name of.
I'm over here trying to remember my Twitch login.
There is of classical. Do you Twitch much, bro?
Somehow I got logged out.
Let's see. 1750 to 1830 is just classical. Wow, that's so boring. We got medieval, Renaissance, Baroque, classical, early romantic, late romantic. Classical. It's classical music, and it's just beautiful. I'm excited to just sit down and listen to the soundtrack.
I'm getting
or
back
at least
into
the songs they put in the movie. It's classical song.
Yeah, I did read Baroque. I read your review. And Baroque seemed to, if I remember correctly, not enjoy the music as much. Probably the dark age of classical, Luke. That's probably closer than just boring classical. But no, yeah, I think Baroque had mentioned how he didn't enjoy the music, but I'd be interested in hearing kind of, that. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that kind of sums up thoughts on. I don't think Brett wrote what his recommendation rating would be in his letterbox, but for me, it's going to be a Matthew McConaughey. If you didn't think so when I kept saying it was all right, it's just a pretty middling movie for me. It's not bad, it's not good, it's all right, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a Matthew McConaughey for me as well.
Yeah, I think if you're interested in
if it was just a little bit better, it could have been knocked up a peg, but
oh yeah, knocked up is a great joke for this movie. Could have been knocked up, but it wasn't. And
dude, that moment in the movie, I was just like, what are we doing? What is this movie about?
It's about stuff. It's just a bunch of things.
If you don't give me a freaking son right now, I'm gonna divorce you. I love you.
Yeah,
I love you so much. I'm gonna divorce you. I love you. Okay.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Plus, dude, there's a bunch of scenes like that too, where they're just like, "I hate you so much," and then they're like in each other's arms, just like, "Ooh." And I know it's supposed to be showing their complicated relationship, but it's just kind of goofy at the same time.
It feels weird, like the scene where you're talking about, where it's like, "Give me a baby," and then the next thing they're like talking about how they love each other, and Josephine's like, "You're nothing without me." I'm like, this conversation has swung completely to the other end of the pit, like the scale here. Like, what is happening? Baroque said about half of the music I liked, the other half I didn't feel, or I feel didn't fit the tone of the current scene. I think there was only one scene in the movie where I felt like that was the case, but I can't remember it because everything was moving way too fast for me to keep up with. So yeah, no. I think that about, Brightson in the chat says, "What's up with the empty chair?" That is supposed to be for some dude that usually is a part of the show.
Our tech guys.
First time chat, Brightson. Welcome to the chat, brother. Enjoy the
Probably
show.
a first time listener too.
First, long time listener, first time caller.
I mean, this is really his first time listening because in the past we've just not done the show if he can't make it.
That's true. That's true.
You're like, oh, Brett's gonna be gone? All right, looks like we got the week off, folks.
Boss is playing hooky, Baroque says. Boss better hurry back. But yeah, no, that's kind of gonna wrap up, I think, our review on Napoleon. I don't have anything else to add.
I liked how he always plugged his ears. I thought that was funny.
Oh, for the cannons.
It's like, ready, aim, plugs ears, fire.
Yeah, if you're like watching him through a scope, you're just like, all right, guys, the cannons. Yeah,
Napoleon, you're giving away our strategy every time you plug your ears. Sorry.
I got, yeah, my bad. Yeah, yeah. There's some funny moments. I thought the first big battle where they charged the docks or whatever,
the opening battle.
Yeah, that was cool.
The fort.
Yeah,
yeah, that was awesome. That poor horse.
I didn't understand. Sorry, we're gonna just keep going here. Yeah, JT, sounds like the landscape of film recently, pretty mid. Yeah, here recently we're in that time of year right before the awards where it's either award movie or it's just a movie that's getting put out, and there's not a whole lot to put out because of the strikes and stuff. Like you're getting kind of some weird projects at this point. But no, what was I gonna say? Oh, at one point we're in Egypt for a bit.
Dude, he took Egypt.
And then there's like the mummy scene with the hat, and I didn't really understand what we were going for there.
I think he was just remembering Josephine.
That was before he found out she was cheating on him, which we kind of just moved through that pretty quickly as well.
Before you cheating on me, it's okay.
And then, yeah, and then we see like the same that dude she was cheating on him with later. And they exchange like a weird glance, and then we kind of just move on. Like,
and then another person shows up, and I'm like, all right, is that Napoleon's son? Is that or is that the cheater from before?
Yeah, and then
or is it somebody else? And it was somebody else.
Yeah. About the czar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, who are you? It's that meme like every 5 minutes in this movie.
Yeah, it just and like rather than like introducing characters organically, they just kind of put name cards under everybody.
I actually kind of did like that.
I liked
they do the little scribble.
I would like it if it stayed up longer so I could actually read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also like it if they still said the characters' names after that.
Hey, Jacques, come help me unload the truck.
Because they really don't, unless they're talking about characters that aren't on screen. And I was like, ugh.
Dude, what was his brother's name?
Barris.
Oh, I have no idea.
Well, Barris was the...
Something Bonaparte.
Yeah. Baroque says he's pretty sure the mummy thing was another short joke. Yeah, probably. Wasn't it, like, confirmed he wasn't actually that short?
He stood on a Tom Cruise-sponsored Apple box. He's like, hey, give me that Tom Cruise Apple box.
He was probably average height. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think it was because he was short and fat.
Yeah, he does have the line about being fat at one point, and that was kind of weird, too.
I'm curious where Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby will end up with award season. Because I do think they're both really good, but I could also see them both being pushed out.
If I had to pick
depending
one, I'd
on
pick
just the
Vanessa
landscape.
Kirby. I think her role was... I think she does a better job. Not that Joaquin does a bad job, but I think Vanessa Kirby does better in that field. So... There's a painting the mummy thing is based on, Brett says. Thanks, Brett.
Where's that kid? Are you driving right now, Brett?
Yeah, are you driving, Brett? Where you at, brah? Baroque says he was average height for the time. It's all English propaganda. You're right. I mean, what I looked at said he was average height, so.
And obviously, it gets demoted a grade in our Fanbox rating or fanboy rating system because they didn't play Waterloo by ABBA in the movie. How do you not put that in the credits? Waterloo.
Feels like a really easy win. You know?
It's like, don't know what you thought about the movie, but here's a great song. Has probably nothing to do with Napoleon.
I will admittedly say, though, just to kind of wrap up our review on this, I'm not like a history buff. Not at least for the French.
That sounded the French.
Not yeah, like I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I just do not know French history all that well.
Let me give you some French history real quick, because I've been to Paris.
Okay.
And my history with Paris is that it smelled horrible there.
That's what Dana said too.
It smelled so bad.
She said it smelled like pee, like everywhere you went.
Yeah. And you want to know why?
People piss everywhere?
Yes.
Yeah. I believe it.
I got off the subway or the train or whatever, walked up the little stairs, came out. First thing I saw, it's right there on the sidewalk. You're just like, cool. It's raining.
Nice.
You're just watching all the particles just drift away. Like, okay, cool. Let's try to make it through alive.
Hopefully you don't pick up some sickness from fecal matter. Right?
Yeah.
Did you get sick on that trip?
Nope.
Nice. Awesome.
I don't think I did.
Well, Brett says ETA is 5 minutes. JT says sounds like NYC.
No, NYC is way better than Paris.
Way cleaner. Or just better
I thought
overall.
It was way better overall. Although I went to the Palace of Versailles and that was lit. That was a major highlight. That was super cool. Big castle, big yard. Would have been great for activities in that yard.
So much room for activities.
Play ultimate frisbee.
Are we back on the bunk bed?
Play some bocce ball. Dude, the bunk bed bros are back. Let's go.
I love it.
Now that Brett isn't here, we can be the actual bunk bed bros.
That's true. We should have made the set for tonight's show a bunk bed. Like I could have sat like under, you sat up top, and then we'll like set the camera where you can see both of us.
Bro, that Napoleon movie was...
We're like laying down, holding the mics like this. It's like, yeah, so...
This sounds like the best thing ever. Do we wear pajamas?
Yes.
Or even would we just get... Yes, it's kind of cold in here tonight. Get under the covers and just... Oh, you know, that movie wasn't very good.
I'm going to give another
that
shout
movie was
out.
The best thing ever saw.
I'm going to give another shout out to Baroque in the chat because Baroque is clutch with this. French history. Some Germans moved west and became France. Then a French dude became king of England and started some 800 years of conflict with England.
Well, honestly, that kind of just sounds like England. They wanted conflict with everybody.
True. Also, it makes me wonder if they went from Germany to France and then created the French accent. Those German guys really did not like the way their voices sound, is my guess.
They got tired of yelling at everything and decided to just slur everything.
Let's just make everything sound as pretty as possible.
Only vowels. And the German is only consonants. Sturgenstocken!
Whoa.
You scared me.
Brett's here.
I was sneaky.
We're making fun of the French.
You're moving really fast for your bum ankle.
He's probably going to need
Did you really
surgery.
stop and get food on the way back?
I did. I hadn't eaten
So you
dinner
could have been
yet.
here as part of the Napoleon review. Now we're into news, so we're going...
My Napoleon review is...
I read it, the whole thing, in its entirety.
It's good. Could have been better.
There you go.
Are you out of breath?
What's your recommendation for it? We gave it Matthew McConaughey's.
Ooh.
Because it doesn't. That's not a part of your review, so.
That's true. I didn't label that in my review.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
It probably is a Matthew McConaughey.
Could have been better.
I think it's a strong Matthew McConaughey.
Are you biased because you worked for the Scott-Free production
Absolutely.
company?
No. I think that he, just to jump back real quick since I'm here and, it's my house.
And we're still finishing up that part of the show anyways. So.
Good. Scott is, technically such an excellent director.
Yes.
And there's a lot of really good stuff in here. I just think it's not tied together well enough to be yeah, fanboy, even fanboy worthy. It's just a little bit below that.
You mentioned in your review. Sorry, we're going to talk more about.
Thought you could get away from it.
More about Napoleon. You mentioned in your review how it felt like a series of vignettes that Napoleon's a part of, and I thought that, especially early on in the movie, that it feels that way. And then I said about an hour to an hour and a half in, then it really starts to become more of a narrative.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just so obviously that way, and it really makes the movie's pacing feel horrible.
It's weird. I think you just come across that challenge with someone who was involved in so many things.
You have to
How
pick
do
a part of the life and focus on that.
There's so many things that you don't see.
Yeah.
You know? And there's very interesting stories to all that, but at the end of the day, they picked what they picked for a reason. Thematically, I don't necessarily get how it all ties back together. I think it's supposed to be about the women in his life. But like they don't ever really go back to his mom after she meets Josephine, and they kind of just
I
abandon
forgot about that.
Josephine
Yeah, I
at
did
the
too.
at the end. Like it's just mentioned, and she's seen a couple times, but then it's like she dies, and then spoiler alert. I don't know if
Yeah.
you spoiled
Listen,
that
she
earlier.
died like 400 years ago. I don't think you have to worry about it.
I think if I were to tweet this movie's review now, because I thought about it while I was sitting here. This movie's an inch deep and a mile wide.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair.
I said I would have liked to seen more time spent with the stuff about his exiles. Luke had kind of mentioned like a movie that could
Only the Exile.
Only the Exile, like the
Ooh.
last Exile, would have been interesting. Just seeing how he lived after his war career and stuff.
I don't know who would finance it, but I would love a
Maybe Scott Free.
limited
an Apple.
limited series versus a you know.
I was just
Give
gonna
me
say
give me a
this.
5 to 6 hour thing where it's like the first 2 episodes are about his rise, the middle 3 episodes are about
What he
his
did while he was
as
there.
emperor, and then the last 2 are his exile and ultimate,
I need to
failure
just
as a general.
need to start a letterbox list that is. This
Movies
was
that should
good,
have
but
been shows.
it probably should have been a show or a limited series.
Yeah,
I feel like once a month I'm saying that about something I watch.
At the same time, I don't think that kind of a show gets the budget needed to make this feel as epic as some of the things in this do, right? Like the set pieces in this are incredible. Egypt feels awesome. All of the battles I think feel full. It's like, oh, that's not just. I mean, it is a bunch of CGI
soldiers,
but like it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
No, dude, they really killed those horses.
All of the stuff in is it Paris? I don't know where I think it's in Paris with like the revolution and like the sets feel good. They look good. I don't know how much of it's CG versus practical, but
that's a good problem to have.
I don't think. Yeah, you never notice it. You're never like, oh, that doesn't look great.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
yeah.
on to news.
On to news, kind
All right.
of.
Unless you had a trailer.
Yeah. Did you have a trailer you wanted to talk about?
Nope.
Cool.
Okay, news.
Baroque does ask, did Brett run here? Well, hobble here.
Yes. No one has. Oh Lord.
Yeah, that didn't work. Also,
Still
kind of
doesn't
not
work.
working.
I am out of my boot, so it hurts a little bit. And yeah, I did kind of hustle once I finished my dinner.
How'd your thing
I was
go?
outside in the driveway watching you guys on my phone.
Nice. How'd your thing go?
Well, good.
Good.
Good meeting.
Good. Yeah. Well,
Glad to be back here, though.
On to news then. Luke, why don't you kick us off?
I'll kick you in your booty.
Ooh!
Got him!
I'd pay to see that.
Ultimate burn! More Superman Legacy casting.
Yes.
We got Skylar, how do you say his last name?
I'm going to say Gisondo.
Gisondo, as Jimmy Olsen. I know him as young Sean from Psych.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that I've seen him in anything, and if I have, I didn't notice him, but I will say, based on looks alone, he looks great.
Yeah.
I've seen him in
Looks great for the
something else,
role.
but I couldn't put
He's
my
in
finger on it.
the Vacation reboot. He's the older son.
It's possible.
The idiot one. The one who gets beat up by the younger son all the time.
Fair enough.
Also for Superman, Sarah Sampaio was cast as Eve Tessmacher!
He's in Booksmart. His character named Jared.
Jared.
He's in The Righteous Gemstones. That's what he's popular for. I forgot about this. He plays...
I think everybody was just really happy that they cast a redhead.
Probably.
That has not been a trend in Hollywood to cast somebody with red hair. Natural ginger hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, and then what was the girl's name playing?
Sarah
Tessmacher?
Sampaio?
Okay. Cool.
Pio?
Love it.
Butcher both those names. Woo!
Love the characters they're putting together. for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a solid cast.
Cast is growing by the week.
In Marvel world,
Oh yeah, baby.
The Kang writer, they kind of reset everything with that. And then today they announced that Michael Waldron will be writing both of the Avengers now.
One is still the Kang Dynasty too.
Yep.
So it
King
sounds like
Dynasty.
they're moving forward.
Abandoning Kang as of yet.
Which is good. Just
And
recast.
Waldron worked on Loki,
Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness, and WandaVision. So there's a bit of it, you
No,
know.
not WandaVision.
Oh, he didn't do some of WandaVision?
That was
Shackman.
Matt Shackman, who's doing Fantastic Four.
That's right. That's right.
That's why WandaVision and Mom are completely different.
That's right. So he did, yeah. Because he did Loki, and then Loki season 1, Multiverse of Madness, and then Loki season 2. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Look, I think.
No, we'll see. We'll just see. You know
Yeah.
what? It'll come out. Maybe it'll be good. Let's just wait.
I think some of the stuff with Kang in season 2 of Loki, slight spoilers. He's a character in it, or a variant of Kang. I think is interesting. He does good stuff with him. He has good, well-written lines. I understand who he is as a character and what motivations are.
It's probably good to keep that consistency of
Yeah.
writer.
And especially if you're getting a new actor. And we don't
know
they're
but
getting
yeah.
a new actor. But if they do go with a new actor, that could be good. Look, this will eventually be a movie that has 6 writers on it. I mean, in terms of like people who actually have input and credit. So it just depends on who those other people are and how much sway the the Marvel exec committee is going to be micromanaging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like the Doctor Doom stuff will be probably put on the back burner for a little while longer.
Oh, thank goodness.
Um,
Thank goodness.
which I think is probably a good decision. I do still think that will be teased throughout this saga, though.
Oh, for sure.
To set him up as a future villain down the line. But so JT, for all the news you care about being the pre-draft talks of Doom, it's probably going to be on hold a while. So don't get too excited.
What was the rumor this week? Was
Killian.
Murphy, right?
Let's cast the next hottest person in Hollywood. I don't hate Cillian Murphy being cast as that. I don't think that's bad, but it's just I think Marvel has weak casting. They just go, who you are probably going to be winner for Best Actor this year. Get him.
Yeah, and kind of to go back to we're on the topic of casting. To go back to Superman Legacy, I think it's the gal who's been casting like all of Gunn's movies for like the past 10 years, maybe not 10, 5, 6 years, at least since Guardians, was put in charge of casting all of the new DC Universe stuff.
I am a big fan. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you even just look at Gunn's casting. I know he puts his friends that he works with a lot into stuff.
Every director does it.
But you look at, like, the big people in his movies, he always casts people you don't really expect.
Yeah.
Nobody was going, cast Chris Pratt as Star-Lord.
The Guardians cast was just out of left field
Mm-hmm.
for everyone, right? Like you're gonna put an MMA wrestler in there, and okay,
Yeah.
okay,
He's
not
like everybody's favorite.
yeah. Oh my gosh. So I think that's a strong choice, and to make that a consistent person who's like, okay, this is an interconnected universe, and we're going to
Let's make it consistent.
she's going to work with each director and Gunn then on really fleshing out who should be these characters.
Yeah, and go ahead.
The person, what's their name?
I could look it up.
I think they just have a really good sense of understanding what a director wants.
Yeah.
The director's like, well, I kind of want somebody that's like this, has this look, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And whoever's the person is like, oh, I got
Yeah,
I got the person.
Well, I
for
think
you.
the other thing too is like she understands the character they're going for, and this is going to go back to what I wanted to bring up a second ago. I saw this thing on Threads earlier. James Gunn's been tweeting a lot, especially since the strikes ended, he's been
or threading.
threading a lot, talking about just kind of like what he's doing.
Make that quilt.
He talked about how, I get a lot of questions about who's being cast for what. He's like, and if 90% of the time it's not correct, is what he was saying. He's like, we won't cast a character without a script. Full stop. Like, we're not casting actors without scripts for what they're going to be acting in. And I think that goes back to this casting director, who she is able to. I think this is the thing right here that he's kind of talking about. But like, she has a script to work off of when she's casting these actors for these roles, which helps her understand, okay, what am I looking for in a performer to play this character? And I think that's why James Gunn's casting is always so strong, if that's been his philosophy this entire time. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with the MCU, it's a little different because you're inheriting things from other projects. But with him being like kind of the puppeteer in all of this, he has the choice to do it that way. And I think that's what makes it work so well. So it's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to kind of what they do. Oh my gosh, you might get your wish, dude.
Monday Night Football is an absolute riot tonight.
Barn burner, baby.
Oh, like 3 minutes into the third quarter, and it's 3-3. Yeah. Okay.
Macaroni
I'll
with
keep
the
going.
chicken strips.
All right, I'll keep going through my news. Scream 7 is dead.
That movie's falling apart.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I know you guys care about this franchise a lot more than I do.
Define care.
I enjoyed the last...
I liked it.
You've seen the movies.
Okay, fair.
Yes.
I've seen none of them.
I've not seen 6.
I've kept hearing mixed things on that. That kind of came out through all of this. But anyway, Melissa Barrera, who is one of the stars of the series, was talking about what's going on in Israel and Palestine right now. And Spyglass was not a fan and fired her.
Yeah.
And people were really upset because she's pretty much saying, hey, killing people is really bad. Layman's terms. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, okay, well, I guess we're not going to see this movie. And then not even like...
It was like the
next
same day. Yeah.
Jenna Ortega says...
Who's the other star of this
the
movie?
other star, and who is a much bigger star than Melissa Barrera.
Yep.
No offense to her. She's great. But
No, but she's going to draw the audience in, right?
She has scheduling conflicts.
Phantom scheduling conflicts that
for
just came
a
up.
movie that doesn't have a schedule yet. Or maybe even like a script, as far as we know. So yeah, that movie is dead, and now they're like scrambling to try and get Neve Campbell back after they pretty much tossed her to the road because they didn't want to pay her.
Yep.
They are desperate. Just to let it die. It's dead. Move on. It's over.
Yeah. This
Try again in 10 years when people.
It certainly feels like a nail in the coffin for sure, which is kind of surprising, considering its last 2 forays have done well financially for them. So for them to just kind of blast this thing into the sun is kind of a crazy turn of events.
Yeah.
What's next?
I know, Brett, I think you're going to have a lot to say about this one.
Ooh.
All Looney Tunes shorts are being removed from HBO Max.
Why?
That's a good question, ain't it? Don't know. The thing that built Warner Bros.
Look, at this point, we just know Warner Bros. Wants to burn its own facility to the ground for the insurance money. So this should not surprise me.
Arsonist Fireman, Warner Brothers nickname.
I don't understand how Zaslav has a job still.
Neither does he. I think he's at this point trying to get fired.
Like I don't see how all the shareholders who are part of Warner Bros. Discovery get in a room and they go, "Wow, our price is dropping like crazy. What's going on?" Zaslav, maybe get rid of another IP for us so we can save a little bit of money.
Are they, selling it somewhere else? Are they licensing it out to someone?
I don't think anybody knows yet.
Okay.
I haven't checked Twitter since this started, but all I saw was Looney Tunes is gone.
256 of them. Wow.
I mean, I might
Like, look, Max isn't full of like family-friendly content either. So like, you might think, Looney Tunes shorts. Who cares? But like, that's something you can throw on for your kid if you don't want to have 16 different services. If you're like, okay, I'm a one or maybe 2 to 3 service kind of family. I mean, we're this way where we kind of rotate through different services, and it's like, okay, well, I can get rid of Disney because there's all these fun Looney Tune things that I grew up with that my kid can watch. Not anymore. And I get there's business decisions, but
I feel like they're gonna just want to license it to Netflix or somebody.
probably.
Like that's got to be the reason, but
I mean, it's down, almost 1% today. I own 2 stocks in Warner Bros.
Well, you work for Warner Bros.
I technically have worked for Warner Bros. This is true. They
Yeah.
did.
How dare you?
They did pay me, so
How dare you work for Warner Bros.
I
So,
can't believe it.
the
Evil corporation.
Looney Tunes content was licensed to HBO Max from Warner Brothers in an intra-company deal. That's not surprising. You have to do that for anti-competitive reasons. But the deal expired at the end of 2022, and HBO Max did not renew it. So that's, again, this is a business decision
By Max.
by Max saying we don't want to, essentially pay ourselves to. This is all other stuff that's leaving in December, Tyler. But yeah, we think we can probably save money, by not spending it there and maybe make a little money licensing it elsewhere. We'll see if anyone is gonna pick this up. Yeah, but that's.
At least it's not another.
It's a little bit like Disney, though, being like, those Steamboat Willie shorts? Let's go give them to Netflix. What?
Yeah. It's literally like in your opening credits.
Whatever.
Okay, I'll keep going here. I think you'll like this as well.
I got loud and now my dog's worried about me.
As well, Brett.
Sorry, puppy.
Timothy Oliphant to star in Noah Hawley's Alien series.
Ooh. Yes, I do like that.
Wait,
I
what is
haven't
it?
heard that casting.
Timothy Oliphant to star in Noah Hawley's Alien series.
I approve.
A fan.
Yeah, I think it's a really good
That's
choice.
a good choice.
A name that doesn't come up a lot. And even when he was cast in The Mandalorian, everybody was did the exact same thing. They're like, ooh. Next, I thought this was interesting. Avatar 3. This is from Jim Cameron himself.
Oh, Jimmy
Avatar
boy.
3 heads into, direct quote, hectic 2 years of post-production. I just ask that it's not too hectic. I hope they're allowed to sleep
It
and
is
have a
okay.
weekend.
It is okay to bump this, but not holiday release.
The first one had 10 years in between it. I think this one would be okay if it got delayed a little bit, because both of those movies both made over $2 billion.
Right. Yeah.
It'll be okay.
I know that and it's so weird to think about it this way, but like at this point, if this gets bumped a year, I think I'm okay with Star Wars waiting a whole nother year. Like, I know that that's what they're doing, right? Like, the whole plan was Avatar 1 year, Star Wars the next, like, every other.
Mm-hmm.
But that gives Star Wars a little more time to cook. And I don't know. I think Avatar is one that you don't F around with, right? Like, do it right. It's a $2 billion of film franchise in terms of what you are probably making back.
If this one only makes $1.5 billion, do you think it'd be considered a failure?
Oh, absolute failure. Oh, it's a $1 billion franchise, right? And so Star Wars hasn't. No, I think the Rise of Skywalker, did it make over $1 billion?
I think so.
I think so. It probably did, but like, just the appetite for Star Wars isn't quite there. And it's okay to separate things and give them time and space. I think we're getting that with Star Wars right now. They're reevaluating.
1.077.
Okay, so it kind of barely edged over $1 billion. But like, take your time, do it right, and then Not everything has to be. I know that they're banking on the fact that those holiday releases make a crap ton of money. But we saw Barbie do incredibly well over the summer.
And Oppenheimer.
And they released on the same day.
Time.
Yeah. So you can have. Last year was Top Gun. So like you can have a solid summer movie release. If you need to push this 6 months, and then if you need to really evaluate and push it a year, like it's fine. Just do it right.
Yep. Well, this kind of leads into the next story I have, which is Edgar Wright, and it's a lot longer article, but it all kind of comes down to this little thing that he said which was take a breather and let audience get excited again. It's okay to take a break and build anticipation.
Absolutely.
It's a whole article on pretty much about how they're always rushing to get the next thing out. Giant slates of movies. Where he's like, and the example he gave was how Bond doesn't have a movie slated right now.
Yeah.
They're just kind of waiting. Well, we got to find a director. We got to get a writer. Eventually, we have to get a Bond, and that's going to be a whole other giant process.
Do they still need a director? I volunteer. I volunteer as tribute.
You want to direct
Do you have
a
to be
Bond
British?
film?
Mm-mm. Absolutely not.
Just like an accent, governor.
Oh, respect their culture. Tyler, that face. Thank you, my friend.
But yeah, it was nice to hear somebody say, just hey man, slow down, let's take a little break. I think it kind of sparks too, because somebody asked Edgar Wright, they're like, hey, can we turn Shaun of the Dead, or what was it? Shaun of the Dead into a TV series? And it's like, no.
Good.
The last thing I have is gaming related, and that is that Final Shape was officially delayed until June 4th, 2024. And they're also going to release a little
It's like an April
interim
thing.
bridge into the Final Shape in April or
I think
May.
it said April.
Called Destiny Into the Light. I'm pretty sure they at least alluded to that it would be free, and I feel like it has to. Man, you can't keep me charging everybody for stuff.
Hey, here's a 6-month delay, and also more money, please.
Yeah. And it was also like the game director Joe Blackburn put out a video, and he's like,
Did you watch the video?
I did.
Good. How was it? I mean, Joe's always such a good communicator.
He's great. I'm a big fan of Joe, and some people I feel like were kind of mad that he said this, but I liked it, and he's like, listen, we don't want to share anything about the Final Shape because we want you to be surprised in the game.
Oh, sure.
Which I'm totally okay with. And like they keep
played that
hammering
line
down. They're like, we know the expectations are massive for this game.
Yeah.
He's like, and we don't want to ruin it in a trailer. We just want to be like, hey, look at this thing you're gonna be able to do. Like, we want you to be able to do that in game.
For 10 years now, they've been towing that line of how much do we show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've gone kind of both ways, where they've said nothing, and people have been super hyped, and it's been really well received, and then they've said nothing and maybe under-delivered, and then people are really pissed off, and so then they talk a little more and share, but then there's not so much surprise there.
They ain't over-delivering.
so there, I mean, there is that. Yeah, it's good that they have a vision of, okay, we're, heads down. We're not talking about things. We want you to explore and, discover these things on your own. I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to my favorite game announcement of the year. The Division 3 is coming. We're working on it.
And that's it.
In like a news article.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Like a little 4-sentence
like
press release. And we're working on Division 3. When's it come out? I don't know. I don't know.
This guy's going to be leading everything.
It'll be on console and PC.
At some point. Yeah.
You'll be able to play.
Jumping into
There'll be guns.
my couple news stories here.
Yeah.
I think this is a interesting news story. I'm the only one on the pod that saw this, but Five Nights at Freddy's has become Blumhouse's biggest film.
Yeah.
In the history of the production company, outgrossing Split by only a few $1 million. It wasn't by much. And a sequel is inevitable, I think, is a part of that.
Sure.
Kind of.
Six Nights at Freddy's.
It'll probably just be Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Can you survive an extra night?
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Five Nights at Freddy's, Back in the Habit.
It's a movie and good for those. Again, it's kind of what I said when I watched it, but good for the fans of this product for getting something that I'm sure they'll enjoy.
Yeah.
Because my theater loved it. I was very confused, but they loved it. And I was very happy to see a younger audience than me go into a movie for an IP that they care about and be happy with it. Because it doesn't happen enough.
I think we talk about this a lot especially when we review things, right?
Yeah.
Like, does a movie know what it is
Yep.
and what it wants to be? And is it trying to be too much? Because I think a lot of times we see these movies get super bloated, and they're trying to kind of be everything for everyone.
Yep. This was not.
This is not that, right? This is a very small budget film that had a niche audience that it knew how to get, and it made its money. Honestly, we need
with a coinciding streaming release same day.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
So we need those kinds of films. And I think we need the big studios. We need Marvel and DC, Disney, Warner Brothers to be looking at that and saying, okay, how can we make something that's profitable
Or hear me out on this.
that doesn't cost us $200 million up front.
I've got a great idea. What if we wrote, directed, filmed, produced an entire movie and then just
put it out,
threw it in the trash? they just give us money for it. We don't even have to release it. Nobody will know if it's good or bad or beautiful or ugly. We just light it on fire. Free money, baby. Free money.
Arsonist fireman. No, I think this is
How can
cool.
somebody say that and be serious? What I just said.
I have no idea. I don't know how they don't say it and feel like the dumbest person on the planet.
What an absolute Scrooge McDuck. Freaking ridiculous.
But no, this was cool. I think this is cool, especially for fans of the IP.
Yep.
Speaking of being fans of an IP, I love The Division. That is well known amongst our friend groups. The Division Heartland got a rating in Taiwan, making people feel that the release is going to be early part of 2024.
Oh yeah,
and that's very exciting to me because this had a beta back in June for PC.
What was it rated? Family worthy?
I don't know. I think it was rated teen. Probably.
Rated E for everyone.
M or T, I'm guessing. I couldn't find it. I was trying to read and hustle, and I didn't.
Rated
see it.
E10+.
Microsoft actually secretly acquired it and is having King make it as a mobile game.
They already have a Division mobile game though.
Or what about
but
this?
not made by King.
What about this?
Candy Crush, The Division.
And hear me out for this. What if they make an entire game and then they throw it in the trash and light it on fire and then get a tax break for it?
Brilliant.
I'm a freaking genius, man. I could run any multi-billion-dollar franchise with these ideas.
Hey, how much money do you think we could get for our movie if we just never finish?
You know what? If you just throw it in the trash right now, I'll give you $5.
Let's go!
Is that enough?
Hashtag worth it.
It doesn't say what the rating was.
Just that
It
it
says
just
that
that
it
it
is
had
rated.
It's been rated. First appeared in November 14th. It includes mentions of PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S.
I just kind of wanted to let you know it's still there, still alive.
Suggest that a release date could arrive as early as late January or early February.
All right.
I'd be okay with that. That's one that I will play no matter what, even if it's doo-doo.
That sounds right.
I'll at least test it out and then go, this isn't for me, and I'll move on from it. Go back to playing Remnant.
You'll be like, this isn't for me, and then play 100 more hours of it.
Probably. And that wraps up my news for the week.
Cool. I think you guys covered
a
of
lot.
The things that I had,
Luke had a bunch of
mentioned down. So
I had to find as much as I could because I thought Brett was gonna be dead in the street.
I was AFK. I was gonna be AFK the whole show.
Do we have any fanbox questions?
We do have a couple fanbox questions, so let's answer those real quick. Tyler, you good there, man?
Flexing.
Just really excited. So over on Twitter.
What's that?
Oh, over on X.
I like Twitter more. Say it again with Twitter.
Over on Twitter.
Ooh, say it again with Twitter. I like that. That just rings, you know? It just has a thing.
Twitter. Ooh.
over on Twitter, someone made a post, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here and what if we called those tweets instead of a post?
If it's called Twitter, tweets.
It makes sense, right? Logical. So JT tweeted at us, if aliens came down and said, give up one worldwide luxury or your planet will be destroyed, what do you give up? A worldwide luxury. That's a good question.
Worldwide luxury. I'm assuming just a first world luxury. Or were you talking like water? Like, take all the water.
Ballsy move, Luke.
Like,
just give up all of our water.
There's some people that don't even have water.
I'm gonna say, like, if we had to give up like gaming or TV shows or
I was gonna
the internet
internet, not bad. Not a bad play. I feel like we could all use from like a reset. Like we get the internet back in 20 years, like maybe we'll have earned it.
I feel like so much of our infrastructure is built around the internet at this point that we would kill the world if we did that, though.
Destruction of economy.
Either way, our world gets destroyed if that happens.
Fair.
Ooh, man, that's tough.
Here's what it came to my mind way too quickly, and I don't know why. The toilet. I feel like we can develop a better toilet.
Bro,
toilets.
Do I need to tell you the story about France again?
He
wasn't here.
Wasn't here.
They've just
first thing I saw was poop.
They haven't changed. They haven't changed in nearly enough years.
Have you ever used a squatty potty?
We could redevelop the toilet.
Have you used a squatty potty?
To be more ergonomically.
I'm so confused why your mind went to toilets immediately.
I'm gonna say socks. I just think it'd be hilarious. People are like, man, this is.
You still have shoes, so yeah.
Socks.
We could put gloves on our feet instead of socks.
I'm gonna say we give up beanbag chairs.
It's a luxury to you?
Yeah, man, these things are awesome.
Beanbag chairs are
Do you have a beanbag chair?
I always get stuck
You're
in
not
them.
even giving up anything.
I say we give up...
Horrible answer, Tyler.
Bicycles.
Okay.
How often do you use your bike? I use socks every day.
That's true.
I'm giving up a lot here.
We have to give up underwear. Everybody has to go commando.
Athlete's foot's going to skyrocket.
Yes. Tinactin is eating good in this environment.
Tough acting, Tinactin.
I'm going to say underwear. You have to give up underwear.
All right. Underwear, toilets, and socks. Wow. But you both chose clothing items.
I just copied Luke and gave underwear and socks is like the worst Christmas present. So if you give those up, you won't get those for
man,
Christmas.
I disagree with that. Maybe as a kid I would have said that, but now it's like
adult,
if I got underwear or socks, I'd be like, low-key kind of need this.
As an
I
adult
just
with
buy them.
hardwood flooring, I go through them way too fast.
I go through a lot of socks as well. But I also own a lot of
Just
socks.
crack that door there, Luke. Let her come in. The pup is concerned because our voices are raised. Gemma, you do not need to be worried about us. Do you have something to share? What would you want to give up? What would you want to give up?
Treats.
Come here. Up.
All right, what's our next question?
Say hi. Gemma, say hi. Oh, you can't see because of the... Say hi. Hi to the camera.
We got a pod dog.
Thank you. Thank you for the kisses. Our next... Hey, you're okay.
Hi.
Our next question
Hello.
is from Baroque. One of Napoleon's few bright spots was how fly everyone looked in that 18th century fashion. If you could make the fashion of one time / culture come back in style, which would it be and why?
Oh, man. I would...
I want to go back to the plate armor era.
Ooh.
Just rock chainmail everywhere you
No,
go?
plate armor.
Just plate?
Just plate.
Chainmail. No chainmail allowed. Just the plate.
Just the plates. Boy.
You just...
And you just have these gaps like in your armor.
Where you going to... You going to school, son? Clonk, clonk, clonk.
When were like... Was it the 80s when bomber jackets were super popular? I know people still wear them, but like...
Yeah, 70s, 80s.
I would go there. I like that style.
I want to go back to the Roaring 20s. I just think...
Everybody look dapper.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I think dapper is just fine. She just wants to be able to come in and out as she pleases.
Yeah, I would love like the bomber jacket era, like the neon 70s and 80s.
70s and 80s. I like it.
I went a little farther back.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stepped on your feet.
Okay, chainmail can be allowed. Got to get full protection.
I was gonna say you're gonna have like this
Gotta protect
shoulder
from-
gap.
Got to protect from all weapons.
Somebody just walks up, they just punch you in the shoulder. You're like, ah.
Like the plate armor though, that has the giant weird looking cod piece on the front of it. Where like you go to the museum and everybody kind of does the.
Dude, that's like one of my favorite
It's
gifts.
the weirdest looking stuff.
Where the kid's like that's my favorite gift ever.
When they're walking up the aisle.
Yeah, he's like, it's the best gift ever.
You show up to the wedding. I'm not wearing any pants.
Oh my goodness! And the dog is back. Okay, we have one more question.
Okay.
From JT, but this time over on Instagram. So you can follow us over there. I don't post.
That
enough.
one's name hasn't changed.
I don't post over there enough. What is your favorite letter in the alphabet?
Ooh.
Z.
I actually like this question.
Easy. It's too easy.
It's because it's your last name.
It is, and I have one of the coolest last names. It's a strong Zilke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nice strong German last name.
It's the origin of Zilke.
I don't know, Germany.
Oh, like what does it mean? Where does it come from?
I think it means cabbage.
That checks out.
I think it's like one who farms cabbages or something. Zilke means.
It's okay. At least your family's name didn't change 100 years ago. And
Mine did.
Mine's lost. I don't know what to look for mine.
Oh, my mom's side it changed. It was Marx.
I don't know the communist. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Got my mom's
So
side.
Carl was your what?
Don't know.
Great-
don't
great-
really want to look it up.
Great
honestly.
great uncle.
I don't really want to look it up.
Cool.
Yeah, they moved it to Marks.
The proper. So what I'm
Here we
hearing
go.
is
Here we go.
what I'm hearing is we have the proper heir to Russia, not the empire, because obviously communists don't believe in empires. But
Yeah, probably not. I'm gonna go with probably not.
Zilke surname definition.
this
This is off Four Bears.
so it's so you know it's legit.
It's 100% true, right? German. One who raised and sold cabbages. Let's go!
Baroque in the chat. Yes, CIA, the guy right there in the middle.
I'll protect you.
Thanks, man.
JT,
Just throw
I'll
cabbages
I'll protect
at
you
them.
with my cabbages!
JT over in the
Yes.
chat.
I knew I related to that guy.
Right?
He always loved X as a kid.
Yeah.
X marks the spot.
I always thought X
Oh,
was
I
a
thought
cool
that was
letter.
kinda clever.
Should have
Nobody
asked
laughed.
that. You should have asked this question on the X app, JT.
Oh my goodness.
See what I did there?
I did.
So for Luke, it's Z. You can have the same favorite letter, just so you know.
Mine's not Z, though.
Is it D?
No. I love the D, yeah. No. I always thought W was funny because nobody can say it right. Everybody always messes it up.
W?
W, yeah.
Your wife's
Or say W.
maiden name.
It is.
When you married her, you're like, I love your maiden name.
Let me change
Mainly
that.
the first letter.
Oh.
You're like, yeah, it's Dub. Oh, that's why you like W.
I should have just said LMNOP, like it's one because it's
LMNOP.
one letter when people it's one, like my kid can sing the alphabet now. It's LMNOP. It's all just one letter. So no, I'll go with W. Are you looking up some special things now?
No.
Are you Googling cool letters in the American?
I was gonna be a little bit of a smart ass and
What?
and select one of those like you know how sometimes two letters will kind of form like in certain fonts two
Like an
letters
AE looking thingy?
like an FI, like it scooches the I in and it removes the
Arm?
the overhead of the I, like the round part, and just like fits it underneath the F, and that's technically it's one symbol, and I couldn't remember what that's called, and I was trying to be clever.
You could have made up any weird old English letter, and I've just been like, okay, yeah.
But now you've explained it, and you've buried the lead a little
He
bit.
likes a ski with an umlaut. Oh, yeah, that sounds cool.
Z is a good one. I have a Z in my last name, so I'm a little biased there. I like E. Its uppercase and lowercase are so different. Like uppercase E is this big, like, 3 vertical lines, kind of like this.
3 horizontal lines.
That's right, 3 horizontal lines
And 1 vertical.
and one vertical line, and then lowercase E is just kind of like this little baby, like, circle-y thing.
You got E and E.
But yeah, no, look, letters are fascinating. As someone who studied fonts for a long time, I don't. Yeah. Get the graphic designer jokes out.
Comic Sans rules. Give me that big fat E in Comic Sans, baby.
Dude, the way you were like, oh, like it's killing me.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm gonna start crying. Oh, that was funny. Oh.
That was the last of our fan box questions.
That was an awesome question.
That was.
I think that one might be up there with.
It's pretty good.
Cereal soup.
We need Exum to send some questions in. Let me hit that guy up. He lives in the Pacific Northwest now. I know he's got some weird questions to ask.
Oh, absolutely.
Opossum is a funny word. Do you pronounce the O or just ignore it and get to the meat? I just say possum. But I read it opossum there.
This is possum.
Yeah.
Possum.
Opossum.
Possum.
Dude, there's a possum that lives near my house. And that thing gonna fight. Last time I ran into it, I couldn't quite move because my Achilles was still kind of messed up.
Bro, like me.
Next time I run into this possum, it's getting the business. I'm punching his face.
Well, if you fight an animal in your yard, possum's the one to do it. You can get rabies.
What?
I think possum. Here, I'll Google it.
Possums can't get rabies?
I think it's extremely rare that possums get rabies. That's why they're.
I have no idea.
Unlikely to have rabies.
Huh.
Their body temperature is too low.
Yep.
I've always thought possums are kind of cute.
Baby possums are cute.
They are.
And
even adults.
They kind of turn fugly, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We love them because they don't get rabies.
Yes.
But what if it just wants to play opossum? Well, I'm going to punch it and then it can play possum. All right, moving on. What do we got left?
Weekly update. What'd you guys do this week?
Oh, man. I guess I can talk about several things here. But for the sake of time, I won't go too into detail. I beat Alan Wake 2.
Nice.
I'll give it a very strong fanboy worthy. Luke kind of reviewed it a little bit last week, talking about how the ending was unsatisfying, I'd say is probably the word you would use. And I can certainly see that. I think I enjoyed the ending more than Luke did. But I think it's part of how I've kind of thought about this game. Like, the more I've thought about it, the more I'm okay with the ending, just because, like, this is a very literary game. It is very much like a story being told, actively being written. And so for the game to end in an open-ended fashion just feels very kind of on brand with what this game is, what this franchise is.
What Remedy is doing kind of with the overall.
And, like, it's frustrating because you really, I think what it lacks, I just finished so part of my other thing, I read a book called The Fragile Threads of Power. It's very clearly the first book of a new trilogy set in an old universe, much like Alan Wake is the continuation of an old game set in the same universe, yada, 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 right? And that book finishes very much like, hey, we have more to come, but we're going to give you a complete arc. And I don't know that in Alan Wake, I don't really feel like you get a complete arc. And I think that's what's frustrating about it. But at the same time, like, what I enjoy so much about this game is the journey that these characters do go on. While it's not complete, it is really fun and entertaining, and I like it a lot.
My complaint kind of stems, though, from not getting that complete arc and having to pay $70.
Yeah.
Like, that is a tall price to pay to go, I gotta wait for more. Like, and maybe it's DLC, or maybe I have to wait 5 years for another game.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary as like setting what the precedent this could set, right? Like you think of what the MCU's done and how it's impacted the film industry. Like if Remedy pulls this thing off, you're going to see more studios trying to do things like this. Insomniac's already kind of flirting with it with the Marvel games. Mm-hmm. But they're telling complete arcs, but that's established IP that they can very easily do that with. But like Remedy, yeah, it's scary to think. I will say I think I got $70 worth of enjoyment out of the game. So
It's a great game.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
lot of fun.
I'm not denying that like at all. It was an absolute blast to play.
Yeah.
It was just that like 1 to 5% of the end where just like, what?
How does it, Luke? I'm curious to you. How does it stack up to like the Halo 2 ending? Where it's like there's very clearly like
I don't remember the Halo 2 ending.
You beat Tartarus, the big brute with the hammer, gravity hammer.
Sure.
Like that's kind of the culmination, but then like you get back on the ship to go to Earth, and like the cutscenes there is like the Covenant is invading.
Here's the problem.
The Covenant is invading Earth, and it's like, okay, obviously
I'm gonna stop you right here.
at this point that we're setting up for Halo 3.
I need to stop you here. My first Halo game was Halo 3. It doesn't even matter.
Okay.
I played Halo 3, I played
Fair
Halo
enough,
DSC, I played Halo Reach, then 1 and 2.
Yeah. So my point being, there are sometimes it's very obvious, like this is the middle chapter of an overarching story, but that chapter still feels very self-contained, and it has its own arc. Do you feel like this is missing that so much that it's like, okay, I can't really forgive it for just being Act 2?
I think what helps in the sense for Halo 2 is you have the two characters, and it's pretty similar to Alan Wake 2. You have the two characters you're following, and you have different stories that are interconnected.
Yep.
But I felt like while the story wasn't over, that section was over.
Sure.
With this, feels to me, it stops right in the middle of the climax.
Okay.
Where it's even like, I know it's a survival horror game, but it feels very horror-esque, where it's just like oh, Freddy Krueger jumps through the mirror at the very end. It's just like, it's not over. Or it's just like, did they save anybody? It's just like, okay.
Yeah, I think it's left very open-ended. I kind of compared it when we were talking about it to Inception.
Yeah.
And I think that is not a good comparison.
The ending to me is very similar. Not the way I don't want to spoil it, but like the top versus what you get in this. It's to me the same.
I completely disagree.
Okay. No, that's fine. You're good.
Oh, you hit me.
We can unpack it after.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything. But I really liked it. Other thing I did, I finished Fragile Threads of Power, as I mentioned. And then I picked up Remnant 2. On Luke's recommendation from a while back. It was on a Black Friday sale. And this game rips. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really fun. If you enjoy roguelites, if you enjoy third-person shooters, or shooters in general, I'd say, this game is awesome. It's not super complicated, but there's a lot of build variety and things you can do within kind of the simple rules that are kind of set for you. And I'm not even that far into it. I've only played like 3.5 hours. But I am like chomping at the bit to get back to this thing. It's so much fun. Luke and I kind of jumped in together last night.
I don't remember how to play the game.
We found out you can kill your teammates.
Yeah. I was just shooting Tyler in the back. It's like, wow.
And I just kept dying. I was like, dude, or not dying, but like my health just kept dropping. I was like, what is hitting me?
I'm a great teammate, man.
And then finally, we finished that little fight, and I was like, Luke, shoot me. And you were like, what? I was like, just shoot me real quick. And you shot me, and my health went down. I was like, okay, that's what it was.
I should also say, it's not that I was a bad teammate.
We didn't actually know it would do that.
What am I?
You're bad at video games.
I'm bad at video games.
JT says he has it on PC. I don't think he asked.
I don't know if it's crossplay. I don't think it is.
I just looked it up. It does not have cross-platform play right now.
It'd be cool if we had third though. Sick.
Maybe one day.
But yeah, really fun game. Highly recommend it if you're looking for something to play. But there's a lot of games coming out, so if you don't get to it, that's okay.
Is there still a lot coming out? Because I kind of need.
We'll find out next week.
I just need to catch
find
up,
out at the
man.
Game Awards next week. Last thing. Oh shoot! I totally just.
Or
spaced.
not the last thing.
I totally just spaced on what I was gonna say.
Well, the last thing is Tyler is losing his mind.
Those two
No.
things right there?
He's
It
getting
wasn't that.
old.
Holy cow!
And I'm
just
able to distract
move on.
him.
I'll remember throughout.
Real quick, really kind of the only two things I've been doing.
Oh, I just remembered it.
Never mind. Tyler, go ahead. Finish your section.
I started a book called The Kaiju Preservation Society.
Oh.
And I'm almost done with it. It's really fun. It's kind of goofy. It's John Scalzi.
Mm-hmm.
More on the sci-fi humor side of things. And it's a lot of fun. It's a nice little palate cleanser. As I just finished reading like a big 600-page fantasy book, this is a nice kind of, let's laugh, be lighthearted, have fun, kind of get the fantasy, I don't want to say stink because it's the right word, but like
Stank?
just let my brain kind of relax for a bit, because fantasy, you have 40 characters to keep track of, things like that. So
For sure.
no, it was this book's really fun. I'm looking forward to reading more of it.
Nice. I have just kind of continued watching Monarch, and I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I started A Murder at the End of the World.
I started this too.
Really freaking good.
Mm.
Really good. There's 3 episodes out. I think the 4th one drops tonight.
Yeah.
Like 11, unfortunately, or something.
Is this
like
a
that.
limited series, or is it like a...
It's limited. I think it's just a...
It's a
like
murder
one,
mystery.
Like
so
a one-season thing.
It's hard to know.
But yeah, it's Luke, you want to talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah, it's really good. It's, all these famous, well, not famous.
It's
really
very
smart.
It's very Glass Onion-y in its premise.
Without
but
the comedy.
But it's very different. Yeah.
It's a bunch of, like, new age thinkers, I guess. People on the cutting edge of technology, and they all, like, get this... Yeah, they get to this think tank.
One's like an astronaut.
Yeah.
Art. There's some, like, artists represented there.
And they're in Finland or something, and,
Iceland.
I'm
just going to keep correcting you.
It's all snowy there.
It's all snow.
Yeah, and then somebody dies, and one of the main character you follow is a amateur sleuth who wrote a true crime novel. She's investigating what's going on. Yeah, it's really good.
No lie, that in the first episode, I think it's the first episode, I'm pretty sure it is, like, that bit where it is kind of the flashback.
Like, at the house?
At the house. So good.
Mm.
Ugh! I feel like there's so much more reserved kind of in the present day stuff, but the flashback stuff has all been my favorite, I think.
But
we're building there.
It's Britt Marling, who I don't know if you guys ever watched the OA.
OA, yeah.
Started off really good. It's super compelling, and then you get to the end and you're like, this is stupid. And you're either on that side with me, or you're on the other side and you're like, this is wild and crazy cool. So I'm really curious where this is going to go. I've got my theories, and they are wackadoodle, let me tell you.
You know what it kind of...
Especially after episode 3, when they climb the mountain and they kind of show you what they're looking at. I was like, okay, this can be a little more far-fetched than we think.
What is why can't I think of the show? The ship.
1899?
It's making me think like 1899. Like, after 1899, I'm like, okay, so what could really be happening?
You know what the show is? It's Glass Onion meets Ex Machina to me.
Yeah. It's a winning combination.
That kind of leads into one of my theories. Me and you can talk about it.
We can have some conversation.
Yeah, sure. It's really good.
Nice. Yes, agreed.
And Monarch too, I think, is really good.
Monarch continues to be good. Yeah,
they do. I'll say this: like, I complain about Alan Wake just ending on just like cliffhanger. Every single episode of Monarch is like in the middle of something crazy. They're just like, whoa, credits, and it's just like, ugh. Come on. It is a little annoying, that bit, but
you only have to wait a week.
Yeah.
Right? That's the other thing.
At least you don't have to wait 4 years. Like 3.
Or I have to get through Control 2 and Quantum Break 2 probably before I get Alan Wake 3. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that show.
Yeah.
I think they're doing a really good job of deepening the world, but kind of leaving it in the 2014 Godzilla era.
Yeah, and
The right tone to match for sure.
Some of the shots they did with Godzilla in this episode, because we do see Godzilla some more in this episode. I won't tell you when, because there's like 3 different timelines. Really, really cool use of shots and a nice kind of reintroduction to Godzilla as a character. It's pretty quick, but cool.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it.
That's all I did this week. I mean, I got out of my boot. That's the other thing.
That's a big thing.
It is a big thing.
We played Halo.
We played some Halo. Continues to be great.
Yeah.
Have you guys been watching Invincible at all?
No.
I need to watch the latest. Because there's like, it's on a break now.
It's on a hiatus until like January.
So dumb.
Yeah, I still have the last episode.
So I kind of got through like the first 3 episodes, and then the holidays happened, and I didn't get around to.
Dude, the 3rd episode was good, but it was so weird. Like, it was an Alien episode or whatever.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
that dude's Alien.
Yeah.
And then
Alan
they did
Alien.
credits, and then they did the rest of the episode. It's just like, why can't we just?
I assumed
a
that
normal
was
TV show every once in a while.
I assumed that was a cut, some kind of cut to the comics or something. Like maybe there was
I don't know.
Alan the Alien comic, right?
Alan has his own like episodes here and there,
Yeah.
his own issues here and there, but I don't know that I would deserve something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
It also was this the
ending of
first time it broke the 4th wall?
Oh, because they're going like, "Hey, don't watch."
Yeah,
Let's not
there's
watch
like
that.
the narrator is literally
Yeah.
like, "Hey, we're not gonna watch the sex scene. We're gonna go over here."
Yeah,
Can't remember if it did.
I think it was.
I think it was, which that felt weird.
I think the ending of episode 3 is very intriguing.
Oh yeah,
But
I'm surprised it wasn't the end of episode 4, but I guess we'll see
Yeah,
what happens in episode
right.
4.
yeah, we're a little behind. I guess we got plenty of time to watch it. When does it come back?
January.
What the heck?
This is why I was in no rush to watch it.
No,
I was like,
and
I'll just wait.
Honestly,
Like,
I don't know if you should. Like, I mean, maybe episode 4 changes my perspective, but this is not a show that I would say, hey, you've got to be on it so that you can be a part of the conversation. Just wait. Just wait till the rest is out and then binge it. Or go week, kind of go week to week type of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
That's...
Hot take.
The only other thing that I did was I watched Justice League War World.
Oh yeah, you texted me.
Which was an animated movie in the DC's Tomorrowverse. Not good, let me tell you. It was a weird movie. It was not at all what I expected. It starts off really cool, and you kind of learn what they're doing. You're like, oh, this is kind of cool. And like the last 30 minutes, you're like, this is so stupid. It's so stupid. And if you're interested in the Tomorrowverse, I have a list like ranking all the movies that are out. I think there's some shorts too. I'm only doing this.
Yeah.
But it is by far the worst one.
What is your second worst one?
I think it's Greenland.
Is the gap between those two significant though?
Luke lists. Yeah, Green Lantern, Beware My Power, I have at 6. War World is at 7. Did I rate this movie? Oh yeah, 2.5. I gave Green Lantern. I gave War World 1.5.
There's a significant gap there.
It's just like our characters are finally meeting up, and this is what we decided to do. It's so stupid.
And then we're going into Crisis.
Okay,
right?
I'm gonna kind of ruin some stuff about it. There's memory loss in it, and all the characters are like, I don't know who I am. Like Batman's like, for some reason I don't want to use guns. It's just like, why can't we just have a normal Justice League movie? Oh my gosh, why is that the way you introduce them? The Tomorrowverse started off so good.
It did.
And then the last couple have been.
I think
rough.
after the quality dip after part 2 of Long Halloween has
Yeah.
been significant. I'd say Man of Tomorrow, Justice Society, and the Long Halloween movies were great.
Yeah, and then you have Legion of Superheroes, Green Lantern, and War World, and they're just like, this was not watching.
Yeah.
I
thought Legion was fine.
Yeah, that one it was.
I didn't think it was
worth watching.
great.
It was fine.
It's fine.
Green Lantern is good until you get to the end.
I was gonna say has some cool stuff in it, and then the end is just like,
It's
like what do we do?
And
it's
then,
the same thing the live action movie does, where it's like, okay, there's some interesting stuff here. Disaster.
yeah, and then War World is just like interesting.
Oh no.
I don't like this. Yeah, and now Crisis is next, and it's 3 parts, and it's just like, I don't know about this.
Did they tee up Crisis with
Yeah.
War World? Oh, great.
Yep. Oh my god, the ending sucks so bad.
Good news. The comic book's not going anywhere, so I can read Crisis whenever I want.
That's true.
Oh,
Cool.
oh my goodness. Well,
Does that do it? What's the score?
you guys didn't burn down the studio.
We did not.
I appreciate it.
Which means this was the best live stream on Twitch ever. Crushed it.
You guys crushed
It's
it.
freezing in here, though.
Oh, somebody scored a touchdown.
Oh, do I need to bring a heater in here?
No.
We'll have some nice background noise.
Awesome.
It's 10-9.
10-9.
Woo,
What a game. What a game. All right, well, look, I didn't start the stream, so I don't want to be the one ending it. What I will say is thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Tyler, you want to hit that button? And
This button?
Yeah, nope.
This button?
Nope.
Goodbye.
That button.
Goodbye.
We'll see you guys next week. We're
We'll
also
see ya.
probably going to do a live stream during the Game Awards. Okay, bye.
Yeah.